Good morning, Liz.
Hello, how are you? I don't know
Hi,
how long
fabulous. Look, I get to see you today. I always love seeing you.
Ditto, Gina, did. I'll be talking with you a little later this morning.
Pardon me?
Talking with you a little later this morning. We're gonna pop on it.
That's cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's very cool. I have class 2 today for success
How is
coaching.
that going? That sounds fantastic.
It's so good. It's they they drop little gold mines. They take you into, why are you doing what you're doing? And with a ton of insight. And then it's a small, intimate group. And so because it's a small, intimate group, people dig right into it and just start sharing like crazy. So I'm really blessed and lucky in my life because I have 3. This one's only just for 4 days. So I have 2 other groups that are small, intimate coaching groups that are really amazing. And I think that I feel like there's a big change at least I feel like there's a big change in and how I interact and how just all my stuff, just a lot of stuff. And I'm like, there's a lot of progress also, just, in the nuts and bolts of it, there's progress too. Good morning, Miss Laura.
Good
morning, Liz. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning. You should wear that color a lot. That is
it's a whole tracksuit, but it's like a skirt.
Oh, I love
Right?
that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay. I need to use my stylist.
no kidding.
I'm just in my polo and my polo top.
This morning I was getting ready, and there's a Christmas shirt that I love. It's little sloths all over it, but it's Christmas. And I love this shirt and I have to wait until Christmas. And this morning I'm like, screw it. It's technically fall, although, it's still 95 degrees. But I'm like, it's fall. And I'm like, Gina, don't put on the sloth shirt. Just don't do it. Put on just a plain shirt.
It's a new era all the way around. Do whatever makes your heart sing. That's what I say.
Me too. Just like you have purple hair, I love it. Like,
Well,
me
me
too.
too.
I almost went purple. I almost went like an eggplant purple in my hair. I'm leaning into it. I've got a hazelnut kind of going right now. I think I'm going to go with mocha next, and then see if I actually have to return to the office. If I have to return to the office, I don't think eggplant will go over so well. But honestly, I don't know that I care.
But Liz, with your skin tone, it's gonna look really pretty. So
It would look gorgeous. I agree.
really
One of the first things when COVID really, really hit, and I'm like, F it, no one's going back. Sorry, I can't believe I just said that, but I did. No one's going back to offices anytime soon. Yeah. I did my hair the most like shocking fuchsia pink. And my husband's like, really? And I'm like, I never, because I've always been the team leader.
Yeah.
Office manager. I've always been the pencil skirt, perfect hair, perfect makeup, nails thing, big tall heels. And I'm like, screw this. And I got rid of all my suits. And I'm just like, oh no, we're just human beings now. And it is awesome.
I'm waiting for that day. I'm like, I just want to get rid of all the clothes that have to do with the law firm and just reinvent myself. I love the outfit Laura is rocking today.
Thank you.
Me too.
Inspired me also with her hair. My nails are a tragic mess, but that's a whole other story. We'll get those straightened out. I just need like a whole makeover. And I'm like, yeah, eggplant. That's the color I'm going for my hair. Eggplant.
I love it.
We'll see.
I love it. All right, ladies, we're going to dig straight in because it's Friday. Okay. So as most of you know, I've been doing success. I've done 1 full day of training through Success Magazine coaching program, which has been amazing. And then while I've been going through that, obviously I always take notes in the book and everything, but the ones that I really, really, really want to stick. Well, first off, I tab out my book, but I tab it with different colors. And the different colors have different meanings. And I do that on purpose so that I can kind of go back through. There's homework tab, there's brain blown wide open tab, and then there's like, you need to put this into brain blown wide open, obviously goes into my aha list. And then there's other things that go back in and like really spend some time working on this one. And there's green for money, etc. So I just really, I tab out my book like that. But through my time, I have kept an aha list. And my aha list doesn't go back as far as I wish it did. However, I learned it from a guy named Dick Dillingham, who was a phenomenal trainer in KW. And he kept an aha list of every aha he'd ever gotten from every training. And at the end of some trainings, he would go through his aha list from all kinds of trainings. And then he would email it out to people also. So I thought it would be kind of cool to go through my aha list. And so I'll go through it. And if something comes to you and you guys want to talk about it, like literally, like, hey, and then we'll just start digging into what that is. So yesterday in my small coaching group, not the training, but the other coaching group I belong to, we were talking about SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So that's what SMART is: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. Attainable and realistic, I'm like, yeah, they're kind of the same thing. But a girl there told me, she said, instead of that, simple, meaningful to you, as if now, responsible toward what you want. I'm like, holy crap, write that down. That's really good. And then gave it to me. Simple, meaningful to you, as if now, responsible toward what you want. Then from Success Coaching, I only know where 3 of these came from, and the rest of them is just a big mishmash because I only know them because it just happened. But how people live their life is based on the story of their life that they believe to be true. Exactly. How people live their life is based on the story of their life that they believe to be true. So one of the things that came up at a Success Coaching was a financial thermometer. I've been using a financial thermometer to work and coach with people for 15 years, whatever. Do you guys know what a financial thermometer is?
No.
Okay. Is anyone brave enough to want to go through a financial thermometer?
I will.
All right, Kay, let's do it. So here's how a financial thermometer works, and then I'll tell you how my brains are blown open after this. So, Kay, for 2023, sweetie, how much money do you want to make?
I would like to make 125,000 out of real estate.
Perfect. Would you be okay if you made 115 out of real estate?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be cool if you made 105?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be okay if you made 95?
No.
100.
Okay.
99.
Nope.
100. 100 is the bottom line. Okay. So 100,000 is Kay's bottom line. That's her financial thermometer. Now, Kay, can I coach you for a second?
Yes.
Here's the deal with the financial thermometer. Whatever we get in life, what we settle for. So I said 125, but I got her all the way down to 100,000 before she stopped. That was her bottom line. What we have to do now is bring you up to your 125, and you cannot settle for any less than that, because what will happen is you will make $100,000. When I was taught this concept the first time, when someone walked me through it, my first year in real estate, I said 60K. I flipping made 60K my first year in real estate. It is exactly what I made. And that's what I settled for. I was like, oh man. Okay. So that blew my brains wide open. But then while I was taking this class, all of a sudden I realized that a financial thermometer, which is a cool concept to work through with other people, kids, all that, to like really work through to figure out where they want to set on to help them raise that number up again to where they really said, like, I intend to make 125. Well, that needs to be your bottom dang line. Like, I'm pissed if I make 124.9. Pissed. Okay. It's got to be your bottom line because you're going to get what you settle for. I wrote down this. I know financial thermometer. I wrote down, what is my success thermometer? And I haven't played with it yet. I just have it in my book tagged for me to go back and spend some time and play with. But that's my next thing to play with in my head. What is my success thermometer? And I realized that I probably have thermometers in all of my life. And I didn't even know I had them. I probably have a weight thermometer. I have a messy desk thermometer. You know, I have thermometers in my life that I am willing to deal with because I am apparently, that's my thermometer and that's crap. So now I need to play, I'm going to play with my success thermometer idea, and I'm going to bring that up because that needs to come up. All right. Any thoughts on anything so far before we dig into the next one?
Well, I have one thought. I know when I retired, I did not want to change my lifestyle.
Mhm.
I paid a price for that, but I wanted to stay in my house. I wanted to raise these kids in the house. And, I could tell, from running the numbers that, to maintain my lifestyle. I mean, I've had to give up travel. I don't buy any new clothes. Everything I get, I shop at a consignment store or a used clothing store. I buy stuff at Goodwill, and, I've cut that kind of stuff out because I think you can get as good a goods. And I've been doing that for probably 5 to 7 years. If I can't find things to fit, now the kids have grown out of the consignment stores, I'll go to a regular store, but I'll only get stuff that's on sale, or that I have a limit on how much I'll spend per item.
Mhm.
And so far I've been able to generally maintain my lifestyle. I don't like that I still feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And then and every time I have to pull money out of my IRA to pay a bill or to get something done, I'm really mad at myself because I'm not making enough to not have to do that.
It's time to bring that thermometer up. Yep. Yep. And I hear you on that one. And my build for this has been a slower build than I want. And I too am not making enough. And I started to realize I just started to get real strategic. And so that's what the past couple of weeks has been really strategic about bringing my worlds in together, where I spend my time, getting my to-do list down. And part of that has been the strategizing of why am I spinning 3 plates in the air? And why am I not putting those 3 plates together? And in my personal world, those 3 plates are Toastmasters, public speaking, writing, that whole world. That's one plate I've been spinning. The other plate is GI18 that I spin. And then my third plate is Chris Angel, a friend of mine, that's the coaching and the coaching groups. And I was like, why are these not integrated more? And I was like, holy crap, you're a fool. And so I spent the past few days integrating those. And then my process now is to integrate everything. For instance, for the event tonight at Starbucks, which is the Toastmasters event that's moving into more public speaking, I contacted the other offices up there and said, hey, look, we're doing this cool community event. Would you like to put it out to your agents? And 2 offices bit. And so a Caldwell Banker and a Keller Williams, actually Remax offices, were like, yeah, no, we're not sending anything like that out. I'm like, this is a community event for your agents to network. And like, no, we don't care. And it's a small town. I'm like, wow. All right, fair enough. But that brings other agents into Toastmasters. That is a soft recruiting event, sort of. And it's not overt at all. And then the Chris Angel and the coaching team, I actually was like, why is he not speaking at one of the Monday Night Live meetings? This guy's amazing. He does a whole 6-week program where he launches podcasts for everybody. I'm like, duh. So I'm bringing him in since Gary gets back off vacation. He is on vacation, by the way. But it's strategizing to bring those plates in so that I'm working smarter, not harder in my business. That is what I'm figuring out what to do, because my success thermometer apparently was not high enough either. All right, my next one. I think I said this one yesterday, but this blew my socks off, and it still is blowing my socks off. How am I perfectly maintaining this problem? Fudge.
How am I perfectly maintaining this problem?
Mhm.
And when they said it, they just said it in passing and kept on going. I was like, I don't even know what they said after that. I mean, I know it had nothing to do with this because they just said in passing, and I was just like, oh no, that's getting written down. That's getting put in your life. That's getting put on a sticky. That's getting in front of your face until you get that lodged into your brain. Whoa. So another one, what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yep, I can't hear you. All I can do is sing. Let me see. I don't want to find, now we're moving into stuff from other meetings and all that. I don't want to find sales. I want to find people.
Mm-hmm.
PF, cool beans. Let me see. Get out of here.
Say the one about the, I can't hear you again.
Okay. Hang on, let me go back to that.
I'm sorry.
No, don't. You're fine. What
I
you
wrote down what you did speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying.
That's it. What you do speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. So while you're writing that down, PF, we're going through all my ahas that I've gathered up over the years, the different classes that I've taken. So I'm just kind of going through them. Some of them don't make sense for this, but there's a bunch of them that do.
I like that. I don't want to find sales. I want to find people.
Yeah.
Because if you find the right people, specifically in real estate, you're always going to be in business. Like imagine if you're working with people you want to work with versus just whoever. I don't know.
And no, it's beautiful. And when you are working, thank you for that. When you are working with your tribe, your peeps, or whatever you want to call them, when you are working with them, the transactions, there's always something glitchy or hairy or stupid or emotional or whatever, but it's so much smoother than working. For me, the people that I have a really hard time with are high S personalities. It's painful. Where the other personality types are, it might take me like to work with a high C, an type of a personality, a high C personality might be like, oh my God, I've got to explain this from the time that, dawn began. But it's still not painful. I just know that this means I got to sit down I got to block out 3 times as much time as I would normally block out because they just require that. But the highest personality, they don't trust me. They don't move. Everything is and even if they don't show it externally, internally, that's what it's like. And it's painful for me to work with that. Painful in real estate, in real estate sales. So it's just, I'd rather work with my tribe. I'd rather work with people who just get me and like me and, trust me and all that kind of good stuff. Because I'm not going to hurt anybody. Well, hang on. I will hurt you if I think it's in your best interest, but I'm going to hurt you out of love. I'm not going to hurt you just arbitrarily to hurt you. That's evil. Okay. You have to make peace with the boredom. Also known as there's mastering the mundane. All in that, just mastering the mundane. I have gotten bored and then I have walked away. And the true mastery in this business comes in the stuff that's pretty boring. You can hand it off at some point, but it's pretty boring. Bree, there's one for you. I don't have it in here yet. I need to get it in here. You're going to like this.
I've also heard it as embrace the suck.
That is exactly right. So let me find my Bree one. Bree, where are you? No.
I'm waiting for Gary to hire that person that's going to put stuff into SciSlope. I hate
They're
it.
here. He's
They're here.
hired.
Yeah, they're
they-
here.
I
They're
think he did
working.
hire
They're in
them.
training right
Oh.
now. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to paraphrase this beastie. And I'm going to go to this page also because this page was really good. But
That's my suck.
all right, so I'm going to paraphrase it, and this is for Bree. All change is ugly in the beginning, messy in the middle, and beautiful in the end.
Oh, wow.
Is that not good?
Yeah, that is good.
As soon as I heard it, I was just like, oh, yep, there's Bree.
There's Bree. That is Bree.
Yep. Okay, this one was really interesting, and I don't have it in my book yet, but how many of y'all know about the ways that we communicate? Have you heard about there's visual communicators, auditory communicators, and kinesthetic communicators? Okay,
Right.
so they talked about that, and then they said there's another one called auditory digital. Now, I don't like this term at all, and I'm going to call it logical or thinker. I'm going to call it thinking.
Mhm.
So basically, it works like this. A visual communicator, you can tell, they learn and think visually, and you can tell because they will see things, say things like, that looks good. See here, the future is bright. I can see that. I can visualize that. That's
Mhm.
how they talk. Okay. An auditory communicator sounds good. I hear you. Tell me, clear as a bell, clear as a whistle, loud and clear. Listen up. Okay. A kinesthetic feels good. I get it. Solid idea, smooth sailing, make it concrete, reach out and touch, grasp. I got a handle on this. It boils down to this. I came to grips with this. Hold on. A logical thinker and communicator, that makes sense. That's reasonable. That's logical. Okay. This is why this is important. When you try and sell to me, I didn't realize that I was a logical thinker. I always said I was kinesthetic because I need to pick things up and touch it. And if you're teaching me on the computer, you need to put me on the computer where I'm poking around and you're over my head telling me what to do. If you try any other thing, like I'm trying to watch a YouTube video, I'm like, I don't know, my brain's too old and I have to put YouTube on my iPad, watch it here, and then be doing this because I can't, I don't know how people do learning up. Everyone's like, oh, Google it, put it on YouTube. And I'm like, can't figure it out. Have to do 2 or 3 screens to do it. But what I learned by taking this short little test is actually I'm a kinesthetic, I'm a logical, and the kinesthetic is my lowest one. So how that parlays into sales is this. If you ever tell me I'm not a visual, I'm a logical. So if you ever say, I can show you a way, if I can show you a way, can we make it do? I want to kill you dead. And I'm not joking. It's just one of those phrases that I'm like, it's so, for me, it's old and trite. And I'm just like, ugh, okay. But if you do, if you do say this though, if I could help you, if this checks all the boxes, then we can get the process started. I'm right there because that is a logical systems way
Mhm.
to phrase it. If you have a visual person and you can tell by the words that they're using that they're visual, if this looks good, we could focus on getting it done if you want. I mean, if it looks good to you. All right, because you're a visual person. If you're an auditory person, hey, if this sounds good, let's get to work on it. Is this dinging all the bells for you?
Mhm.
If you're a kinesthetic, if this feels good, same thing. Okay, if this is going to smooth out your life a bit, is this something you can get a handle on? You ready? Okay, it feels good. If I could help you understand the benefits, if you could see if it makes sense, would you? If you could, if this process makes sense, if the system is going to make your life easier, is this something you want to do? For the kinesthetic, you ready to move forward? For the visual, can you picture that in your life?
Mm.
How does this fit into DISC?
That is what we asked, and that's what we're going to train on today because they said they're looking for the correlations. Actually, I'm getting trained by Dr. Abelson today, the guy who did the DISC, Dr. Abelson's DISC. He's doing our training today.
Wow.
I know. So the question was asked, they said the one that, and then we all 26 of us started chattering like crazy in the chat box. We think the logical is a D. I'm like, well, I can see it
Mhm.
also, but I think it's a D. So then I realized because the kinesthetic is the one I'm lowest on, the lowest, that feeling-based person, it's that SI personality. I am negative S, almost off the page. I don't feel anything. If you ask me what I feel, I have to, so my husband can feel, he has feelings because he's a real human being. I swear to God, I have a wooden Pinocchio. I'm going to go get the wooden Pinocchio. I'm going to start holding it up out of here. Like, this is my goal, to turn into a real person. But he'll say, well, what do you feel about that? And I literally have to just stop and I got to process and I got to think about what I feel about it because I don't feel that way. I just don't. But if you say, what do you think about this? I can just like, think this, you know? And
What is I? What do you think I is?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say a visual, but that's just because eyes are so, I don't know. And like I said, they said that they're looking at correlations. They're not sure if they can completely correlate it out or not. But they said there's one that looks like a very strong correlation. But I would guess that the S's are the kinesthetics. I don't know. And then people started asking questions like, well, I watched something, and then they said, yes, but then do you break it down into systems, and do you need to get a handle on it that way? And it was like, yeah, that's what I do. And I thought I was kinesthetic, but I need to be able to feel it, touch it, see it. So like in my head, I can start breaking it down into systems. And then it's always a question of, is this logical to me? So
So the person that needs to write it down, kind of go over it and then gets it is a D, an I, an S.
well,
I mean, my disc profile has changed over time.
mine has
Mhm.
too, and it will with trauma. It will definitely change over a really harsh, hard life circumstance can change you dramatically in your old age. You can shift a bit as you age, not huge dramatic changes, just through life and time or circumstantial, like I'm not in an office anymore, so I don't have to have my eye up higher anymore. I can bring it down and be more D. And I looked at my disc today versus my disc that I took in 2009.
They're
Yeah, that's
different.
my left disc. And so, yeah, so a good little more in 10-year range. And my eyes definitely come down. The rest of it is just like, my D is as high as you can get. You can't get any higher. It's literally all the way to the very, very top. And my S is below, my C is really below. But my eye used to be around, I think 60. My eyes all the way down to like 25. I was like, whatever, I don't care.
Well, when I started, I had a huge check. It was like D was kind of low. I was way low. I mean, D was way high.
Yep.
And it made a big check. And now it's more like a Z in the middle.
DISC. That's an interesting personality. Whenever you have a DS personality or an IC personality, it's an interesting personality, and you know them without knowing you know them. They're the quirky people that are like, you're odd and quirky, and not odd and quirky and just zany, I'm a high I kind of way. No, you're odd and quirky, you know. And they don't, like the ones that I've worked with ICs in particular, a few of them, and they're completely unaware of who they are as human beings too. Like, I'm like this, and you're like, I remember running through the disc with one of them, and she's like, I said, you have a high I, talks fast, social, all that kind of stuff. And talks fast, right? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you're doing it. And so when you see that interaction, they're unaware of what my experience was, they're unaware. The DSs are interesting. They're harder to read because they're solid, stable, reliable, don't move. But yet there's this power force thing where they want to be in control, and it's an interesting combo. And then the ICs, like the ones in my life have been accountants, are super friendly, but they like being closed off in their office doing numbers and checks, and then, you know, interacting as all zany. And I'm like, it's a weird combo.
What are high D, high C's? Because I have like no,
My husband.
I
That's
have like no IS. I'm high D, high C, almost parallel.
Have y'all ever seen the Star Wars, the Star Wars version of the personalities? It's actually the Myers-Briggs, the Star Wars version of
Oh,
Myers.
yeah.
No, but I like Myers-Briggs.
So Liz, you're Darth Vader's. It's serious, you're Darth Vader.
There's a lot.
So funny. So it's logical, systematic. You take time to process through, and when you do, you're slower to move. You take time to process through, but when you do, you've got a driving force behind it, and it's an interesting combination. It's my husband, and you flipping cannot move my husband. My husband puts his heels in, and that is it. And he is not moving. And when he gets upset with me, he explains to me from time immemorial why this is the way it needs to be logically, because he's already thought the process out. And if I had thought the process out too, then I would clearly have come to the same answer that he had come to.
When you said you were low C, my bells were going off like, what? What do you mean? Low C? That doesn't even exist in my universe. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
Either.
I'm a high ID.
Yes, you
DI.
are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're the classic real estate agent. You are, because high Ds aren't friendly. I's are very friendly. So D's get things done. Eyes make friends with people. This is why this is usually a power agent, is some combination of D, I, or ID. Now, does that mean?
Wait, she just said that she's a combination of that?
Yeah, I'm a high D and I'm a
Oh,
high
yeah.
I.
Okay, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like Bree's super friendly, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the I.
Yes.
That's the I. Okay,
You're
that makes
Talking
sense.
about me, the high D being on. I honestly, I get that feedback a lot. It's like, I don't feel like I'm unapproachable, but I'm very, what can we do for you here?
Right.
But you don't come off as unapproachable to me, Liz. I don't know, like
Yeah,
during
no,
the
you
banana
don't.
class
Yeah.
that we did, you were so on it. Like every week we would get an email, at the end of the class. I'm like, I love Liz.
System.
She's keeping me on point.
Thank you.
Systems.
System,
But
yes.
there's a secret thing that I found out with the DCs or the CDs. A lot of them have really messy desks.
Yes.
My desk is
I
messy.
call it
I have the
organized
desk
chaos.
mess.
Because they
Me too.
can't throw stuff away. They can't do it.
I call it organized chaos. I know where everything is.
Yeah, that's what my husband says too.
Yep.
He has to find a poster for a thing that we're going to in Savannah, and he has I think he's got a week booked to find this thing. He can probably hear me, and I'm gonna get like, why'd you say that later? Because I can see this. His office is right there, and
The
although
funny
my-
story, I used the disc when talking to my ex-husband because he's so slow to get to the point. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then my twins have picked up that characteristic, but I can't be short with them. And I was like, oh, my high D kind of kicks in. I'm like, can you just
I feel you, Brianna. With conversations with my husband, sometimes it's like, so how is this part of your day? And it's like a whole long, I'm like, oh my God. Sometimes it's just a yes or no question. I get and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm thinking I don't have enough time for that. That's awful, but I'm just kind of like, it's just a quick yes or no. Let's.
yeah,
I'm okay with explanation. It's when someone's like, oh, I'm like, oh God, now I gotta kill you. Like,
But I think, crazy enough, I feel like the aha moment that you wrote, I think you said, what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. Is that exactly what it is? Sometimes I think about that with the people in our lives. It's like, I can't even, because you're just this way, but it's like, accept you anyways. Okay, let's figure out a way.
when the actions don't line up with the words, believe the actions. This tells the truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
It does, because our words can say
Yeah.
anything we want them to say when there's not alignment. So look for people in your life that have alignment in that.
yeah.
If you're gonna be a complete a-hole, at least and your actions are a-holy, at least, and you're talking like that too.
At least you're consistent.
Yeah, at least you're consistent.
It's
Yeah.
the snakes in the grass that have the smooth words, but your actions don't line up at all. And it's interesting to sit down, because one of the things I think we do as human beings is we ascribe motivation. We project our motivation on what the other person is thinking or doing. And so it's helpful to sometimes say in my head, what would motivate that person to do that thing that they're doing and have it be okay in their world construct? Like, what in the world could be motivating them? And it just helps that, maybe they're not a complete jerk. Like maybe the person that cut me off, maybe they didn't see me. And this is I don't know, it's just a stupid example. Maybe they didn't see me. Maybe they're in a hurry. Maybe their kid's sick. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they have a weird phone call going on. Maybe they're I'm in Orlando, and Orlando's full of douchebags. I mean, it just is driving. It's horrible.
No, they're a-holes.
uh,
I don't know. Have you been to DC recently? They're not the best.
DC's another one.
Drivers up
I
here.
would rather drive in New York than DC.
Me too.
In Nashville, we don't know how to drive, but we're really nice.
Therein lies the difference.
Yeah.
I
we're
would
like-
rather drive in New York too. Yeah.
Me too.
Atlanta, they do not know how to drive here.
Oh my God, Atlanta's the worst. And my sister, who's
It's
from Nashville,
horrible.
drives like an ATLian.
Yes, it's bad.
So for me, it was the Bay Area, in San Francisco, the Bay Area. In LA, we just go 100 miles an hour. We need 1 inch to merge. That's it. It's good. Different signal. We're fine. Those are the rules, right? It's all good. And we used to, when I was younger, because I moved to LA when I was pretty young, we would, if the cops would not pull you over, they would literally stand on the side of the road and they would go, slow down, slow down. And we'd be like, yep. And we just fly past them. And then if the cop did get behind you, you just didn't pull over. You pretended you didn't. I'm not joking. You pretended that you didn't see him. because whoever pulled over got the ticket, because everyone's going 100 miles an hour. Everybody. One fool that pulls over and you're like, ha, ha, ha. You keep on going. But in the Bay Area, you have daredevil, you've got teenager, you have people from India, and then people from Asia, this huge portion of those two ethnic groups that have moved into that area. So 50% Asian from Asian countries, and then 20% Indian from Indian countries, because the tech brings them in from the other countries. And so they're in on K1, I forget what the K things are, but they're on some K plan. And they come in. So they know how to drive in their countries, which makes sense, but it doesn't make sense in America. So you have very, very timid drivers that drive really, really slow in whatever lane they're in. And then you have the daredevil Californian that go 100 miles an hour in whatever lane they're in. And then you have the Indian population, which just drift wherever they kind of want to drift. Because in India, I had to ask them to like, why is this? In Indian culture, this is so far off real estate. In Indian culture, when you drive in India, in America, you make sure that you're doing what is right. As long as I'm doing what's right, everybody else, whatever, but I'm doing what's right. And then you watch out for the other people. In India, you do what you want to do because they'll watch out for you. So it's funny. Exactly. So they will just like drift across. I'm not joking, 4 or 5 lanes of traffic, 30 miles under the speed limit when you're going 20 over, like you should, in the lane, and they'll just drift, no turn signal, no anything, because they want to take an exit there. You'll watch out for them. So it.
So was it the Californians that were driving those motorcycles that cut in and out of the lanes and went right through 2 lanes of traffic? And it was your fault if you didn't see them? They drove me crazy.
They're allowed to split lanes in California. Do you guys know what splitting lanes is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to split lanes. So if the traffic's, it go up and up the line. If the traffic, supposedly the rule is the traffic has to be going something like 20 miles under what it should be going, or 30. I mean, there's a big change. That's what it's supposed to be doing. And then you're allowed to split the lanes. But it's terrifying because the bikes are loud and you're in traffic and all of a sudden, like really, really loud right by you. And I know it's the law and they're allowed to do it. They don't. They just split the lanes, when traffic's moving the speed it should be going. But you just want to open your door. And that's horrible, but it's scary as heck. So
in Nashville, when you get to a stop sign, you go. No, you go.
So the first time I moved to Virginia and I honked at somebody because they stopped in the middle of the road, I had a car full of agents with me as a new team leader, brand new. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, the car just stopped. The car stopped in front of me, and I was at that point from Washington State. And they're like, but why'd you honk? And I'm like, because the cars, they're in the middle of the road, stop. And they're like, they're probably just lost. And I'm like, well, then they can pull over. But they were like, just, we're not in any hurry. Okay, honking's considered rude. Good to know, because we live on our horns in California,
We have roundabouts now, and it's like a total shit show.
I'm sure it is.
Because they're just
It
like,
started in DC.
who
I
goes?
swear.
Know what it
They
is.
stop in the roundabout because they're like, oh no, you go. It's like, no, everybody goes.
PF will appreciate this story because I hail from Massachusetts and we are used to they're called rotaries up there around about here. When I moved to DC, that was the first thing that I was like, what is happening? So they have the roundabouts in DC and it's a circle, right? And you just and if you miss your turn, guess what? It's a circle. You can keep I cannot tell you how many people I was behind the dead stopped in the middle of a circle. Because they're like, oh no, I missed my turn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people, it's a circle. Go around again. Pick it up. It was the most maddening thing that and the way they change directions on the streets down here, depending on what time of day it is. So to route the traffic, you could be going towards into the city, around the Kennedy Center, out towards American University during one time of the day, and then the other time of the day, it's all blocked off and you're all coming in the other direction. I'm like, this is crazy. And just one last thing about the stop signs, Rihanna. Here, everybody will stop and be like, yeah, go ahead, or beep, beep. And then they'll start letting you, like, if you're a walker, you'll start walking across this thing and the car will start moving before you even clear the front of them. I'm like, really? Now it's like a cat and mouse game. I'm done. It's nuts. Anyway.
In New Jersey, they don't allow left turns. So anytime you want to turn left, you have to go right.
Three rights.
Oh my God.
Right.
if your GPS doesn't know Jersey, because they're like they're not like regular roads with intersections. They're more like thoroughfares that have the dividers kind of thing, because traffic moves fast and
Oh,
they go 100 miles an hour. So if your GPS doesn't understand, because it's like take a left-hand turn, and you're like there might be a street there, but you cannot turn on that thing. You have to go up, 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 and over.
Michigan has something weird like that too. It's called a Michigan
My
left.
husband's explaining to me the difference. So I'm getting the explanation because I'm married to the DC. Hey, guys, I'm going to leave you with one more aha because I think it's interesting, especially for the shift and what we're going into. And then I got to go because I got to prep for my class today. But this was during the last shift, and I really liked who this come from. I think it came from Keith Cunningham. Cut everything, but don't cut to the bone. The bone is not the race car driver. It is the one who built the engine. Cut everything, but don't cut to the bone. The
mhm,
bone is not the race car driver. The bone is the one who built the engine.
Wow,
I
Wow.
Get it.
He's so good.
that's
Okay,
amazing.
you lost me. I don't really get it before you leave.
So if you're cutting your expenses and cutting stuff, like I've been going through and cutting things. So I'm not cutting, but I'm cutting like pretty ruthlessly cutting my stuff. Well,
close
okay,
to the bone, but not to the bone.
so I
So
haven't
the bone
cut-
is your structure, and then the meat kind of helps drive it. So you want to cut the fat and the excess, but keep some of the muscle. Don't get rid of the muscle, because that's what's gonna drive you and get you forward.
You're
Is that
cutting
right?
The foundation. If
The
you cut-
foundation is right.
cutting too close, if you're cutting the bone, you're cutting out the structural foundation. That's not what you want to do. You just want to make it more lean and efficient in the cutting the fat or cutting the meat.
Yep.
That's powerful.
Excellent.
Yep. So
Okay.
so start analyzing your expenses of every single penny that goes out. And is this something that can be cut and not cut the engine builder? Or is this not something that can be cut out? Like this just flat out cannot be cut out. And I haven't been ruthless. I said the word ruthless and that's a lie. I've just been cutting. I've not gotten ruthless yet. At some point I may have to get ruthless, and that's okay. But I'm going to keep on cutting. I will tell you that. I'm just going to keep on trimming away until I get like a nice something to go on the smoker. All right. I would just like to take a second. I don't know why, but I just really feel like this. Bree, I would really like to lift you up. I know that we've talked a little bit before. I see you as such a leader, and you show up so often as such a leader. You truly have that in you. I don't know if you thought about it, but put it in the back of your head, or be aware to the opportunities around you to lead more, because you really, really are such a leader. I see all of you all as leaders anyway. And you lead in a group of leaders, which is really amazing.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. I needed that.
Well, there you go. We'll give it to you.
I'll take it.
All right. Okay, you guys have an amazing, is there anything else anybody's got on their brains or anything before we close out and I go be top my disc?
My
Was-
one aha going into the weekend, just breathe. I
Just
sat on a rock, and it was like I was walking to a bathroom and there was a rock by the bathroom, and the person just wrote it on the rock and said, just breathe. Like a few weeks ago. So just breathe, y'all.
awesome.
Do you guys do art rocks in your area? Do you guys know what art rocks are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it in another, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe share your just breathe rock or another breathe rock someplace else, because then you pay it forward. Because I found, we were talking about it in Seattle. Someone was telling me the concept. My daughter-in-law was explaining the concept, and I'm like, that randomly explaining the concept out of nowhere. I'd never heard of it. Oh, there's rocks that people leave around completely painted. Da, da, da. And I turned and looked, and there's a flipping rock right there. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, and then one more thing I want to leave you guys with. Who has Hulu? All right. Have you guys watched? Have you guys watched? Greg, what's that thing? The magician guy. Derek Delgadio. Oh, hang on one second. If you guys have not watched this, you're Hulu people. You guys really need to watch this. Hang on one second. Derek Delgadio. Hulu, hang on, this is me typing, what is it called? In and of itself,
In of itself.
in and of itself. If you haven't
In
watched this,
and
watch it, in and of itself. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I highly recommend it. It is not what you expect. It is going to make you it is going to understand, help you understand who you really are.
Huh.
Say it again. It's in and of himself.
Itself,
itself.
itself,
Itself.
in and of itself.
Okay.
Just watch it. Really, really do yourself a favor and watch this. Watch it with your no, don't watch it with your family. Watch it with, like, is it kid friendly? Man, not little kid friendly at all.
I don't know if you knew my teenagers. They teach me a few things. So
Most of them do.
I was gonna say.
Most of them do, and they're doing stuff way younger than they ever. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'll leave you with this funny story because I think it's hilarious. So my son came home when he was little Christian school kid, little, little perfect little angel kid, came home one day, second grade, and he was a year younger than everybody else. So he's with, I mean, they're 9, he's 8, and he goes, or 7 maybe. And he goes, Mom. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, Barney's gay. And I looked at him and I said, do you know what gay means? And he goes, and he just walked away. And I thought, I was like, I didn't know we had to talk about gay yet. I had no idea, right? I just didn't know. And then he came home like maybe 3 or 4 days later and he goes, I know what gay means. Okay. All right, kid, we're talking about it. But it was so funny because I mean,
in terms of Barney, like of
yeah,
all
Barney's gay.
things.
Yeah, Barney, probably because Barney's purple, I guess. I don't know why, but he came home with Barney's gay. And I'm like, actually, I think it was Tinky Winky from, but whatever.
From the Teletubbies.
From the
Yep.
Teletubbies, yeah, Tinky Winky. Tinky Winky was the one, but yeah, Mom, Barney's gay. I'm like, do you know what gay means? Yep, okay. And then that was it. But yeah, then he within, I don't know, a week, he knew what everything meant. I mean, everything. I don't know who that kid was, but but they talked. But anyway, do watch In and of Itself. Do look for ahas in your life, store them all in one place because it's interesting to go back because I had forgotten the Keith Cunningham one. And it's interesting to go back and re-aha your ahas. So keep them and store them all in one place in your life. And it's life ahas. It's life ahas, class ahas, any ahas. When you get ahas, keep them because they're really, really good. And you'll be surprised. I don't know about y'all, but Facebook will show me my memories and I will see some of that stuff and I'm like, dang, still funny. Still good stuff, So, all right, my leader of leaders, go sell a house.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you
Have a
all.
good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy weekend.